Welcome to another day's Sokoto airstrike. Families of 13 civilians receive compensation. Ghana deports 42 Nigerians for prostitution. Others. Nigerian, 5 others indicted in a $41 million US stock market fraud. Now there's also Dirty December. Last month deploys drones to monitor traffic. Man arrested for dumping refuse on Lagos Road. About time. Okay, suspected motorcycle thieves nabbed with firearms in Nasarawa. Right, so that's from the Punch newspaper. There are very many other stories you might want to go through, but let's take as many as possible, as many newspapers as possible. On the Vanguard newspaper, the leading story is why presidency raised 2026 budget to 58 trillion naira. Remember that it wasn't up to this. Now it has been raised to that. You might want to know the reason why it was raised to that. If you're concerned about what is going on, why we are borrowing, why we are having a budget this big and what they are going to use it for, then you better read that story. Why presidency raised 2026 budget to 58 trillion naira. Okay, the other stories are unprecedented takeover dynamics, implication of APC's dominance of the National Assembly. There's also mixed outlook at Christmas, lower food costs, high livestock prices. Okay, so while you can buy rice, like in my village, you can buy rice for as low as 45,000 naira, stone-free, beautiful rice, nutritious rice. But can you buy the beef? Can you buy anything else to go with it? Like my friend would say, they are accompaniments. Can you buy them? That's the question. All right, unprecedented takeover dynamics. We've taken that. Some ladies now use detergents for their hair maintenance. Is that not dangerous? Okay. Why Dangote cement is cheaper outside Nigeria? So while sometimes we say Dangote is wicked, he's selling for less outside and more in Nigeria, maybe there's a reason. So read up on that before you vilify somebody on something you may not know. So get that information and be informed. Ban on wood export will boost local furniture manufacturing. That's according to Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. All right, so companies to retain tax holidays for 2 years under new law. Interesting. So maybe that is to encourage businesses to thrive. So read up on that. Maybe you have a business and you might benefit from it. On the Daily Trust, another 130 abducted Niger school children regain freedom. Good news. Traders count losses as fire destroys furniture market in Kano. troops intercept supplies for terrorists in Borno. Other headlines are another 130. Okay, analysis of Adamawa State's 2026 budget speech, promise, priorities, and the people. So you may not just be interested in your state, you might want to see what other states are doing. So if you need to correct something in your state, or you need to suggest something in your state, maybe you just might get some information from another place. All right, so let's move from there to the Sun newspaper, which leads with banks to customers using public Wi-Fi dangerous, hackers on prowl. So if you think it's a freebie, if you think it's something that or how do we call it, Oshofri, you're seeing Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, and you're using it, the banks are saying that hackers may just be waiting for you on the other side to deal with you. Yuletide, luxury bus operators assure travelers of safe hitch-free trips. We would also like them to assure of a cheap trip. Banks to customers. Okay, Benga Hashim hails late Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi as rare religious leader. Mba Kodoso Adeola Barao Wike Lawal Yusufu 2 Mekende Oba Ladoja Bishop Okonkwo Kuka Galadima Uzodima's wife Igweoji win the Sun Awards of 2025. I wonder what the parameters are for choosing these people. Okay, let's take a few more. Tinted car permit anger over police enforcement threats. INEC under surveillance ahead of 2027 polls. That's according to Kwankwaso. Edo APC chieftain Charles Idahosa dies at 72. May he rest in peace. On the Daily Post, the leading headline is Major Terrorist Attacks That Shook Nigeria in 2025. Then 2027, Amechi posters flood Kaduna, stir speculation over presidential ambition. Afenifere chieftain Okpadokun identifies those sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. So maybe we don't have to wait for the list, the so-called list, the almighty list of 400 or so names that has not been released till now. U.S. ambassador explains visa restrictions on Nigeria. And AFCON 2027 CAF appoints Mauritanian referee for Super Eagles versus Tanzania. All right, let's move to the Guardian newspaper. Guardian newspaper has tax reform now deepens as civil society demand probe flags concern. Diaspora investors drive growth, expose fault lines in real estate sector, and energy access key to scaling EV adoption, experts say. Grab a copy of the Guardian newspaper and look at that. Let's just take some headlines from The Nation and wrap it up and join Rufai. The latest news here is a Co-Atlantic tops Lagos luxury estate market by 59.5%. Interesting. Mutswang's defection will strengthen APC's prospects for 2027, says Dati. Council boss empowers women, youths, and others. Sustain mother tongue education policy. That's someone saying the mother tongue education policy should be sustained. My question when this policy came up is that which mother tongue are we talking about? If you go to a place like Cross River, for instance, so every school, almost every school will have a different mother tongue. So which one will be on the syllabus, which one will be on in the examination, and there are so many questions. But let's think this through. And as much as I support mother tongue, we should have a blueprint of what we need to do and how we need to do it, so that we will not run into chaos and maybe abolish it after a few months again. So these are the headlines that made it to the front pages of some of our national dailies. They definitely are more stories on these newspapers. Today we looked at the Punch, the Vanguard, the Daily Trust, the Sun, Daily Post, Guardian, and the Nation newspaper. We're hoping that you are going to call us or send us a message to tell us what you feel about these headlines. In the meantime, we are going to join Rufai Oseni for his thoughts on the headlines this morning.
All right, a couple of stories making it around. So this is a review of the president's speech, and I'm just going to go through some of the parameters of the 2026 budget and some of the claims he made. He said 18.6 trillion in revenue as at Q3 2025. But let's also juxtapose that with what the minister was saying we did, that we didn't even do 10 trillion in revenue and 24.6 trillion in expenditure. So I think we need to get more clarity on that data. He said following the extension of the 2024 capital budget for execution to December 2025, a total of 2.23 trillion was released for implementation of the 2024 capital project. So what is happening is actually the president actually sent a request to the National Assembly pretty much to expand budget tenure system because there are many projects left undone and we have not executed many budgets. So in fact, even the 2025 budget cycle, some of it will be running to the end of 2026. So his philosophy, and he expects, revenues to pretty much increase because of the new tax act and things like that. So his philosophy for this budget 2026, he talked about the fact that inflation has also come down, which a lot of people will still argue that things are still increased because the economy was very much rebased. So he also said that philosophy for this 2026 budget is consolidation, improving business environment, promote jobs and all of that. He said they will spend with purpose and manage debt and discipline. That's going to be very dicey because there's going to be a lot of spending. So since it's a prelude year to an election year. And he said the key aggregator as follows. Expected revenue is about 34 trillion. Projected total expenditure is about 58.1 trillion, including 15 trillion for debt servicing. Recurrent non-debt expenditure 15 trillion. Capital expenditure 26.03 trillion. The budget deficit will be about 23.8 trillion, representing 4.2% of the GDP. So how will they get the budget deficit? Probably, definitely, we're going to borrow. And when you look at 2026 to 2028 medium-term expenditure framework, the parameter set at $64 per barrel. Oil went down to about the $60 mark per barrel. Maybe we're optimistic and we'll go up. Crude production of 1.84 million barrels. We've hovered around that area, but our production is also low. But the target we gave ourselves is about a 2 million barrel. Exchange rate of 1,400 to the US dollar for 2026 fiscal year. This makes my mind go down because I think the first exchange rate benchmark that was set was about 1,005 something. So where the allocations will go: defense and security 5.4 trillion, infrastructure 3.5 trillion, education 3.5 trillion. And they said these priorities are interlinked. Defense still takes a very higher part, health takes a very lower part compared to education. We talked about security remaining the foundation for the development of the country. They will invest in security, prioritize counter-insurgency, blah, 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 blah. Talked about education and health. No country can grow without education. Talked about NEL Fund, over 418,000 students already on NEL Fund being supported. And in healthcare, it says it's pleased to highlight that the investment in healthcare is 6% of the total budget size, net of liability. It says they are opening the doors to international partners to get over $500 million in grants and donations. This is something we should also watch. We can see how recently Trump pulled the plug on USAID. I talked about delivery, discipline, and national compact. He said 2026 budget will be guided by better revenue mobilization, better spending, better accountability. And he thanked the National Assembly for their sacrifice and all of that. Yes, but we have to scrutinize this parameter. But one thing that I would also like to look at is to be able to interrogate the figures of this budget performance. Is it the same budget that last year everybody complained about budget performance? This outgoing year everybody complained about budget performance. Is this what we're saying that we actually did spend that amount? And the president should also be asked to reconcile the figures that his own minister went to give during the MEF conversations at the National Assembly. So I think it's just time to be able to reconcile all of these figures so that we can get a proper level of accountability in the end. So there are many numerous questions that we'll be expecting as regards this budget. And I'm sure definitely the financial experts and analysts is going to lead to a lot of questioning. We are definitely going to scrutinize all that he said and going to look at all the numbers. Like I've also pointed out, that some of the numbers he's giving here as regards the revenue is definitely at variation with what his own minister did say recently. So, I mean, let's see how all of this pans out in the coming. Okay, so now we'll be able to get some information out that actually, matter of fact, the budget performance for capital projects, there are many distinctions for capital projects for 2025 is just about 17%, which is a paltry sum. And this also challenges the narrative by President Tinubu that we raised money, we had met our revenue target. So if you have met your revenue target, and you see it was because it was prioritizing 2024 budget, and the budget performance is just a paltry sum of about 17%, then it shows that most of the projects that you put aside to do, that obviously you couldn't do them and you couldn't get money to be able to execute them. And it speaks volumes about the budgeting system. It speaks volumes about the fact that we're running 3 concurrent budget cycles. It also speaks volumes about the fact that you cannot have effective governance while all of this is happening. So, if with all the revenue you made, and now with next year you want to increase taxation, and you are having budget performance of less than 17-18% allocated money, so you want to collect more taxes. But what have you even used the money to do? And it is sad that the presidency till date has been quiet about an impeachable offense, and I think that's why the likes of even, I think I was reading somewhere about a Yinaya Abduction trying to, talk in the lines of, holding the government to account on issues like this, and ensuring that the government comes out clean. If the government has not been able to speak about that alteration of a bill, which is an impeachable offense, until date, the government has not been able to tell us, this deal with France, then it speaks volumes about this government. And it's a very sad one. It's a very sad one. Because you can't run a nation without a level of accountability. And these accountability gaps have started to show. And when you start to see these cracks, then definitely, we have to start pushing. We have to start pushing. We have to start pushing back. And that's why I'm happy something has happened. The coalition of political parties, I think the APC, the PDP, and other political parties, have said that they're definitely going to take the government to tax about these tax issues. And we need to be able to ask questions, because if we don't ask questions, we don't get anything done. We don't go anywhere. We don't go anywhere. We are not able to scrutinize effectively. We are not able to get our words. I mean, look at what is happening in Abuja. Now they want to tax people for generators. There was a case of a man that they said they're going to tax him for pollution from his generator. The question is, did the government give us power? Did they give us power? Is the provision of power not a matter of the states? So an average Nigerian goes to provide his power individually, because provision of power that is in the legislative list, you are failed as regards that you cannot execute that. Then you say you are going to tax people because they are not effectively doing it. They're using generators. So what should they use? If you don't provide power for somebody to run his business, he doesn't have any other means. He uses solar. I mean, he can't use solar. He can't buy solar. He uses generator. Then you start to tax him for that. Then what kind of government are we running? You see, and that's the call and the plea against this government. There's a level of high-handedness. Everything is just too high-handed. It's just something like, indicting or fighting or pulling people down every time. And when you have this constantly, it leaves much to be desired. It brings a lot of brickbats. And at the same time, the government is failing on most of its responsibilities. Look at budgets. Only 17%. That's a failure. If a child gets 17% in an exam, he has failed woefully. Only 17% of capital project can be executed. And at the same time, it's in that same year, you, the president, as of September, was bragging that we have collected most of the revenue, we have done so well on the revenue, but you have spent so much also, and you have borrowed so much. I mean, these are the things we should keep asking this government. And you see, when we say these things, the lovers of this government will say all sorts. I mean, they don't even have a level of thinking that sometimes I wonder what kind of logic, heralds their thought process. The next thing they are screaming that we should be grateful now that December period we don't have fuel scarcity. We should be grateful that December period we don't have fuel scarcity. But that's at a price. The years we had fuel scarcity, is it the same price at which we bought fuel then? We're buying fuel now. Have we not gone through subsidy that has injured the people? Have we not gone through subsidy and deregulation that has injured the people? Do you know how much you are paying for the price of fuel now? Coupled with the fact that you also face the devaluation of your economy. So, I don't know how the supporters of this government think. Maybe there's no even logic in their process of thinking. I doubt if they have some level of logic, because you are arguing now that we should be grateful that there are no fuel queues. But we all know that all of this has come at a great expense against the life of the citizenry. They are buying fuel times 3 or 4 times more than what they used to buy before, because there's a removal of subsidy. At the same time, they've gotten a hint for inflation. So, I mean, if there was still subsidy in place and we are not having queues, you can say, okay, it's a dividend of democracy. But we remove subsidy, we've deregulated the market, we've caused more pain to the people, and you've brought about more taxation. So these are the issues. But, when you challenge them with logic, they will spew all sorts of narrative and all of that. And it's people that don't have the coherent logic and they don't have the coherent thinking pattern that they won't be able to spew all sorts of logic. So I just look at them. All we are just saying is, please just make this government more accountable. Isn't it an indictment that something as grave as this happened for over a couple of days now? The government has not been coming out to speak about a bill that was signed by the National Assembly was altered. If it's in some right-taking country, it will lead to the impeachment of the government, because that is the highest low for any government. But in Nigeria, it's a country of anything goes. People can commit murder and it goes contrary. This is a constitutional murder as far as I'm concerned. And when it happens, people just look at them and just act like, oh, there is nothing to it, let's move on. But it is the quickness to move on that destroys our country. A fraud was committed. The tax authority committed a fraud. What was passed by the National Assembly was different from what they gazetted. A tax authority committed a massive fraud. And it is the same tax authority that want to start holding people accountable for not paying taxes next year. But upfront, they have committed a fraud. Do you know what they added to that thing? They said that now they can arrest you if there's a tax, if they claim that you didn't pay taxes, they can arrest you. They also put it that, okay, even before you go on an arbitration and all of that, that you pay like some penalties down already. So what they are saying in brief is that they have the power of arrest. Why does a government institution have the power of arrest? When you start having tax police, then where are the courts there? Where are the courts there? So they appropriated a lot of powers themselves, and they expect you to be smiling about it. And some very funny Nigerians are also now supporting them and saying, all because the man is from your party or from your tribe and everything, you can do no wrong in your eyes. Have you been able to use your party card to buy fuel for cheap? Have you been able to use your party card that asks you to buy fuel for cheap? Or you go to the market and buy food for cheap with your party card? Has your life been any better? Things been cheaper for you? I mean, these are the questions we should ask the people in the political class.
Tinubu, since he is now in Lagos, to come down to Ijegamo community and see how people are suffering of lack of good pipe-borne water and power supply that he has promised Nigerians but turned out to be all promises cancelled. APC. Olorun Agbawao. God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much, Temitope, and it's unfortunate that till now you still don't have power in your community. Good morning, VOP family. One should tell the Senate President Godswill Akpabio to concentrate on his legislative work and stop the war with Natasha that have no economic benefit to Nigerian masses. We thank God for the release of Niger State school pupils. It is a big relief to their parents and their loved ones. And to the good people of Nigeria, the question that is still begging for answer is, the Kebbi school girls that were kidnapped last time, who ordered the withdrawal of the security men on that day before the children were kidnapped? The governor of Kebbi State asked the question. Concerned Nigerians are still asking the question. No answer yet, but the supply by the relevant authority and Nigerians are waiting. Benjamin from Shogunle. Thank you, Benjamin, for your thoughts this morning. Mazio Gochuku from Isheri Oshun. Our government should bear in mind, anytime they pay ransom to terrorists, they are empowering them for recruitment and acquiring of more sophisticated arms. Our military should do the needful. Please release Nnamdi Kanu. Thank you. You know, we've not even opened the lines, but already these messages are coming in. We're expecting Dr. Anosike to join us soon so that we talk with him and then open the lines at 8 o'clock. So that's why we're just taking the messages now. Good morning, Oga. APC government has failed Nigerians in general. What have they to tell us next? Next year campaign, children not going to school, no job, no work, no food, basic needs, none. We are waiting. This is from Mr. Babu. Okay, and this one is saying, good morning to everyone in the studio. It's just me, and my name is Nyamgul. 2026 budget achievable. Why wouldn't it be achievable when your government is borrowing left and right without positive impact in our lives? We are being taxed with our last drop of blood to meet up your 2027 general election target. Mr. President has found 210 trillion naira missing under NNPC, in which you are the Minister of Petroleum. No wonder we are called a disgraced nation, which is what we are. Mr. President, what are you going to tell our campaign or campaign with come 2027? Please resign before you will be disgraced out of office because you have nothing to offer. Oh God, arise and trouble those that are troubling Nigerians. Mayor from Ikotun. Okay, we're being joined by Dr. Peter Anosike. I wonder, are you the one we have been praying for to arise and trouble those who are troubling Nigeria? Good morning and welcome, Doctor.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Okay, so we are here again. I don't know the day we'll have good news to come to our ears, but we're here again and trying to look at the headlines this morning. Okay, let's start with news from Ghana that they have deported 42 Nigerians for prostitution and others. Why do we keep having this kind of a blight in our reputation outside the country? If it is not drugs, it's prostitution or one other thing that is a vice that should not be. What is happening to us?
Well, in the 80s, we had what is known as Ghana Must Go. Yeah. Understand? Then we were Ghanaians were everywhere in the country. So, and we felt, the government then felt, that was Buhari's military government. They felt that Ghanaians were constituting a nuisance because then their economy was bad. So they have that to come that to Nigeria for greener pastures. But now the reverse is the case. We are now going to Ghana for greener pastures because their economy is far better than our own economy.
But how green is the pasture of prostitution? That's my concern. Why do we always get into the news for the wrong reasons? Prostitution, drugs, and all that, no matter the country we go to.
They feel that since their economy is better, their life will be better off there and not in Nigeria.
Oh,
understand me? So about some months ago, Ghanaians were shouting, were protesting that Nigerians must go, because a lot of Nigerians are now there trying to because Ghanaian economy is far better than that of Nigeria. Even our companies in Nigeria are living here and going there. Mechandin, Dunlop, we are in Nigeria, but they are now there. Understand? Because they have fast, stable power supply.
Okay, let's leave that and go into another matter, maybe weightier matters, maybe one of the answers to what you just said now. Why presidency raised 2026 budget to 58 trillion naira? That's on the Vanguard newspaper, and the claim is that they did this because in the medium-term expenditure framework it was 54.46 trillion naira. Now they are saying because of the massive recruitment into the military, police, and other security agencies, that's why this budget has been raised by about 4 trillion naira. What's your comment on that?
Well, the issue is this. I have gone through 2026 budget. It is suffering continues for Nigerians because there's nothing in that budget for the ordinary Nigerians. Imagine health is just 2.4 trillion.
Okay.
Trillion. Health, which is the most important thing in the world. There's a saying that a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, but budget for health is the need. Is looking worse. Everywhere in the world, once government fails, community rises. But in Nigeria, when government fails, community fails with the government.
But is it really the fault of the community to fail with the government? Because in other places that you're talking about, if the government fails, at least there's a level playing field. There are incentives. There are good climates, so to speak, business climates and all that for the communities to rise. Do we have that here in Nigeria?
That's because it is not there. That's why when government fails, community fails.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe in order to encourage businesses to grow, companies are to retain tax holidays for next 2 years under the new law. So is it the light
Nigerian youths have no job. 80 million. 80 million Nigerian youths. There's no country in Europe that has a population of 80 million. None. In Europe. Now imagine where a whole population of a country has no job. And this is pure insurgents, insecurity. Because those guys cannot fold their hand and die of hunger. They have to go into different kinds of crime. Understand? Because they say an idle hand is a devil's workshop. So when they are saying that they are fighting Boko Haram, ISWAP, they are still indirectly raising another Boko Haram, ISWAP.
And they won't be seeing the crime as crime, but they'll be seeing it as a means to survival, which makes it even more dangerous.
Government is not providing for them. Once the youths are not busy, understand, crime will be on the high in the country.
In the meantime, there is a debate on the floor of the National Assembly as to whether vote buying should be criminalized or not, and the National Assembly said it is not going to criminalize vote buying, and I don't know why they said that. That's why Peter Obi has also said not criminalizing vote buying disservice to democracy. What are your thoughts?
Let me ask you, will you pass into laws a crime that you are involved in? That's the question. Will you pass into law a crime that you are involved in? Most of them are involved in vote buying. Most of those in National Assembly are involved in vote buying. So that's why they say no, it is not a crime. But the truth is that these people are deceiving us, because in the Electoral Act, those laws are already there. Understand me? In the Electoral Act, those laws are already there. So it's just like trying to it is not new. It is not new. It is already there. That vote buying is a criminal offense. It is there in the Electoral Act. Understand? So it is not new. In that act, it is a criminal offense that attracts jail term.
So why are we still talking about it?
Because they feel that we don't know, because Nigerians don't read.
But, well, this is serious. Okay. And now they're saying they cannot criminalize it, and we're saying that. So why are we even talking about electoral reforms if we have some of these things already there, and they have refused to implement it?
All of these things that they are coming up is already covered in the Electoral Act.
So why are we talking about it? What's the main thing that we seek to change?
They want to give you impression that they are busy, while they are not doing anything. They want to justify the hundreds of millions that they are taking home every year. Those laws are already in the Electoral Act.
Okay. PDP will not fail. Party factions assured Nigerians after meeting with INEC. A lot of people have said that PDP is dead and gone already because of what is happening within the party. But now the news is that the various factions have come together and said that they will not fail.
They've already failed. Those who are listening to this program, I have said before that PDP is like a broken down vehicle that cannot be repaired till after 2027. Understand? And if they are reasoning, if they are thinking deep, they will know that INEC is playing games with them. An instance, the convention in Ibadan, INEC did not cover it. The emergence of Turaki, INEC did not cover his convention. And any convention that INEC did not cover is illegal according to the Electoral Act. So in 2026, any presidential candidate that Turaki brings up, INEC will reject it, because they did not cover Turaki's emergence. And which is what Nyesom Wike has been working, which is or the mandate that was given to Nyesom Wike to make sure that PDP will not present any presidential candidate in 2027. So Nigerians are not seeing beyond their nose. Understand? So imagine the game that INEC is playing with them. INEC did not cover Turaki's that the convention in Ibadan, but they went to Ekiti and Osun and covered the governorship of the Turaki faction of PDP. So if you did not recognize their father, why are you recognizing a son?
Will that not act against them if it comes to the court of law? Because this same question should be the question that will be asked. If they are not legitimate, why did you cover the one of
the
Osun?
Problem with Nigeria, we are not asking those difficult questions. We are not thinking deep. So that's why I'm telling Nigerians and PDP that INEC is playing games with them. INEC is playing Nyesom Wike's game with PDP. Understand? Because 2026, any candidate that Turaki brings up, INEC will say, we did not recognize you because we did not cover your convention.
But I've said the president in Osun and Ekiti, so why will that their argument be strong?
The target is not on the governorship. The target is on the presidency.
Okay.
Understand me? Their target, the target is weaken PDP so that they will not be able to present candidates in 2027. That's the mandate that was given to Nyesom Wike, and that's what he is doing, and he is doing that very, very well.
Okay, just as an aside, but still on the performance of this presidency, we've had padded budgets, we've had forged laws, we've had so many other things, and this tax law is something that's really concerning for Nigerians. Next year, we're going to begin to pay taxes, and the law that was passed by the National Assembly is not the same law in circulation, and the presidency has said absolutely nothing about it. Does it give you concern?
Well, what they did is to make the law bogus so that everything can go into it. What was passed was streamlined, understand? But then they now have to open it. That's to make sure that whatever they think of, they can insert it into it.
But is that not criminal?
It's criminal. It is criminal. It is criminal.
And everybody is silent. Obviously, it means the National Assembly may not be representing the people that sent them there to represent them. They're talking for themselves. So we are the ones that will pay the taxes.
This was exposed there by Dasuki. Understand? He said he used 3 days to check what was passed and what was gazetted, and that it is not the same thing. And it's one of the reasons why APC is working that to have all the members of the National Assembly in their party. So whatever comes will go without any scrutiny. Understand me? And they are succeeding in it. But I know that this madness, this stupidity, this foolishness will not go beyond 2031. And by then, our politicians will realize how stupid they are. Our politicians will realize how stupid, how foolish they are.
But how many people will survive to 2031? That's the question.
Who will survive? Who will survive?
And that's the mantra we've been using. No matter what, we will survive.
We will survive.
And because of that, we've let a lot of things to slide. Is that good for us as a nation?
We will survive. We will survive. Understand? If you read the things from apart, Chino Achebe said, behind the house of a coward, that's where they will carry the dead body of a hero to go and bury. Understand? So that thing is always in my mind. Nigeria will survive them. All these evil men that are doing this, Nigeria will survive them.
Well, we better survive.
No, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. 2026 is going to be hellish. It's going to be difficult for Nigerians. Understand? but we will survive them.
Okay, so there is the price war in the petroleum industry is still raging, and Dangote has reduced his own the price of petrol, and is still being fought by powers that be and all that. I do not know if we have any light in at the end of the tunnel in this very important industry, whether it is just a game and a script that is being played by the powers within this industry. I just don't understand why it is happening like this, because even with the reduction of this price in Dangote's fuel or petrol, the prices of the transportation fare is still like sky high. I do not know what Nigerians are going to, how Nigerians will be the victims from now till 2031 that you're talking about, because that seems to be like the time we are waiting for to get liberation and all that. So I don't know.
The issue is that the transporters are as wicked as the politicians. Understand? The transporters are as evil as the politicians. Now there's no increase in price, understand me, of petrol, but there increase in transportation cost. Why? Because this is December. You want to make money that you have not made from January to November. It is wickedness. Before, they used to tell us that it is a fuel scarcity that makes them to increase price. Today, what is the reason for the increment? So these transporters are as wicked, as evil as those politicians. But one thing with Nigeria is that we only complain when we are not benefiting. Most Nigerians complain when they are not benefiting. Understand? When we are in such positions, we do even worse. Understand me? That is a typical Nigerian. Understand me? When we are in that position, there's no reason at all for transport increase, because there's no increase in price of fuel. Understand me? But everybody is focusing at the politician as the only evil. Those transporters are also evil.
So that means we don't have the moral right to even criticize the politicians if all of us are this bad.
Go to Maza and check how much people are paying going to the eastern part of the country. It's like what we pay to go by air to Abuja and back. By air, just a few years ago. That's what people are paying on the road to the east. Why? There's no increase in transport. I mean, in price of fuel.
But what kind of intervention can a government do in this kind of a thing? Because, for instance, they brought CNG, which is approximately a kilo. How do they even call that one? Is approximately like what petrol used to be. It's quite cheap. I think is it 250 or 300 or so, and the price is still the same. So what else can the government do to make sure that their intervention is felt by the people?
One, this is a country of over 200 million people. How many are those CNG buses? Understand? How many are those CNG buses? So the CNG is one of the mago of this.
Pitamba, I think the governor of Enugu State, Cardoso, the central bank, Adiola, Barau, Wike, Lawal, Yusuf, Otu, that is Cross River State Governor, Makinde, Obaladoja, Bishop Okonkwo, Kuka, Galadima, Uzodima's wife, Igwe, Orizu. They just won an award in 2025. And I'm wondering what the parameters are for giving awards in Nigeria in the first place.
To me, those awards don't impress me. Understand? If you want, the award that will impress me is Nobel Peace Prize, because you cannot buy that. Understand? You cannot buy that. All these awards have been arranged. People pay for these awards, and any award that you give money is not an award. So this thing doesn't impress any critical thinking mind. Understand? So I know how they get these awards. Understand? Okay. I know how they get these awards. Most of them that you mentioned paid for it.
Most of them. Okay, so it's still the front page review on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I'm Nyamgul Agaji, and I'm still here with Dr. Peter Anosike. We're looking at the headlines, but it's time for you to also tell us what you feel about the headlines that you've heard so far this morning, while we still have our guests here in the house to help us also answer maybe questions that you may pose, or just to also lend a word to whatever you say. So let's begin to take your calls now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and location?
My name is Emeka from Ogun State.
Emeka, thanks for joining us. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. What I want to say is that earlier 80s, when we heard that they're about to read the budget, people will be celebrating because money will circulate. But today, they will tax us to use our money to pay, to count budget,
fund their
also
budget,
telling us that we are going to see pay more next year. There is no hope for us. Our girls are being deported from Ghana because of prostitution, because there is no work. When a girl gets to the age to be taking care of the parents, and yet they are still eating mommy, thank you, what do you expect them to do? Now, nobody's talking about the yahoos. That is now, many children are now dropping from the secondary school level, going into internet to, business called Yahoo. And Nigeria have never talked about that. They have not fought insecurity, and the time shall come, all these ones, the internet now, they will start their own. And nothing anybody can do about that. Nigeria is getting damaged every day by day. So, why the old men, they are there in the position there? No, dreaming a dream without any vision. When shall we wake up and do the rightful thing before Nigeria's finished? God bless you.
Thank you very much, Emeka. When shall we wake up and do the right thing? Good question. Okay, callers, the numbers are, I didn't even read the numbers and people have begun calling. The numbers are 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. You can call us on that line, or you can also call us on 080 3692 9933. 080 3692 9933. If it's WhatsApp that you prefer, it's 081 71 75 6338. 081 71 75 6338. Call us or send us a message on WhatsApp. So let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Yangol, and good morning, Dr. Peter Anosike.
Good morning to you.
Well, my brother.
What's your name, please?
Sorry, my name is Nelson, still Nelson Ikawaji from Amuwo, Odofin.
Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Merry Christmas and Happy Christmas to you all in advance.
Same to you.
I want to say that there are a lot of things, there are a lot of headlines, but the ones I will try to pick is the issue between Dangote, the issue between this price of transport and the price of oil being down, the price of petroleum being down, and the price of transport in this season being increased. You see, the point is that if Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not have interest in the oil and gas industry, if he's not involved in oil and gas, this will not be happening. The fight is the fight between Bola Ahmed Tinubu using his people and Dangote himself. It is alleged that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a refinery in whether Malta or somewhere, and it is people that will buy it. It's Nigerians that will go there and import and bring it to the country. Who gains? So if he does not have, he would have done something, he will do something. So this fight will not end. Then, considering the what do they call it, the tax whether reformation bill or whatsoever, what the legislatures or the legislative sign into law and what get it being different. You see, I keep on saying that this government is just full of lies. There is nothing, all the policy, there is no policy of this government, of APC government from Buhari till this time. It's just only that this one is worse. There's no map road. There is no focus. There is nothing that this APC have to offer Nigerians. And that is why all these things is like this. And of course, we are talking about solution. I listened to VOP yesterday, and there were books, though I've forgotten because of my sight. Like I told you, I cannot write, but I listen. Right now, I cannot write, I cannot read because of my sight. And it is fundamental. The problem of Nigeria is, from the beginning, the inception of Nigeria, Nigeria was not established in good faith. It was under falsehood. And we are carrying that falsehood even till today. We talk about history. History at a time was removed, and now they are introducing history. Now, my brother, could you believe that in the question paper of primary school? Primary school now are doing history, and one of the question paper they said that the Nigerian war was caused as a result of the argument, the struggle between for oil. Is that the issue? Is that what caused the civil war? Wow. And they refuse to understand that the civil war was caused as a result of not agreeing. If the Papiri Accord was implemented, there wouldn't have been civil war. Why is Nigeria not being truthful? My brother, until we go back and decide to follow the right path. Now they are saying Nigerian nationality. Who are they? They want to mention nationality, whether nationality or nationalism. They are talking about Tafawa Balewa, they are talking of Ahmadu Bello, then they carry Zik and Awolowo. What did Bello, what fight did Ahmadu Bello fought? And what fight did Tafawa Balewa fought before they give him prime minister? These are the basic truths which we refuse to understand. But we just want to pushing lies, and we make the new generation, and of course people go to school today, they just go to school to pass examination and get good job, but they don't go to school to understand. Yeah, graduate. How many graduates can even stand up to
Okay, so sorry, we couldn't hear you anymore. I think something happened on your end, but you have made your point. You have a response.
What you said that Nigeria was not created in bad faith.
So it was created in bad faith.
It was created in bad faith.
Yeah.
The truth is that what led to the amalgamation of Nigeria, I have said it in several fora, is just £500. Understand? Nigeria was amalgamated as a business interest. This is what most people don't know. Nigeria was just a business interest. The Niger Royal Company then was making a profit in the southern Nigeria, making loss of £500 in the northern Nigeria. So in order to balance their book, they have to bring the north and south together just to balance their book. That was the amalgamation of 1914. So it's just a business interest. Understand? And not that these people have things in common, they can be one country. Understand?
Okay, but that doesn't mean Nigeria cannot work, because that sounds like...
Is it working now? Is it working now?
Is it because of the amalgamation that is not working, or because of the selfish people that we have at the helm of affairs? Because this sounds like an arranged marriage. Not all arranged marriages end up in jeopardy. Some of them actually work and get up to 50 or more.
Couples must have things in common. They must have similarities. They must have agreements. But in this, There were no consultation. Can you people live as a country? It did not happen. This is just 500 pounds. That's why we are called Nigeria. 500 pounds.
Interesting. Let's take.
From the beginning, Nigeria was a fraud.
Okay. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, I'm good.
Good morning to you, please.
I greet you and I greet Dr. Amasikadia. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm Edward calling from Sango.
Thanks for joining us. Go ahead.
This is the topic of the day. I'm just hinting on tax. Nigerian people supposed to approach the federal government. The masses of Nigerian government supposed to approach the federal government, because there is many things that they're supposed to approach. There's many things to discuss before this tax, because this tax we wound a lot of Nigerians. If Nigeria did not rise up and defend themselves on this issue, it will wound them, because there are many things government are failed to do, and they just want to add more injury. The time they bring in a fuel subsidy, what they told us is that they will use the profit of fuel subsidy to give us a refinery, and they failed. And there is list of people sponsoring terrorists in Nigeria, which they have failed to show to Nigerian people that are committing all those crimes that put the nation in the dilemma. There is an issue of 210 trillion that National Assembly did not, up till now, did not try to prosecute people who are involved. There is a higher bill on EFCC matter that the federal government did not tell the nations what is going on there. They're supposed to come and tell us, even the refinery of Port Harcourt and Warri that did not work. They're supposed to tell us why, the reason why that thing did not work. Because this tax now, they have critical things they're supposed to have arranged and tell Nigerians how this thing stands. They failed it. And they want to still wound Nigeria. Nigerian people, if they did not stand up and defend themselves on this issue, it will give them a lot of problems. So let Nigerian people now speak on this matter before they start executing it. Let Nigerian people approach the federal government, and let them withhold all those things now until the critical thing is solved. Because the danger is too much. The suffering is too much. So Nigerians will wake up from their slumber and face the federal government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Doctor, you have a response to that?
I want to say that our biggest problem in this country is the National Assembly. Now, the presidency told us how the 2025 budget was
executed.
No, and performed. Were we told? No. So, and you are approving 2026 without being told how 2025 performed. That's stupidity on their part. If you have a son and he asks for money, the right question should be, the one I gave you before, how did you use it? Understand? The one I gave you before, how did you use it? So, Senate should have asked the presidency, can you tell us how the 2025 budget performed? What is the percentage of implementation? All these questions were not asked. All they did was to sing on your mandate we shall stand, which maybe in 2026 will become our national anthem. They now know how to change that and to change national anthem. Maybe by 2026, on your mandate we shall stand will become our national anthem. So the biggest problem that you have in this country is the National Assembly, who are not performing their checks and balances. Understand me?
All these problems we're talking about, are they covered in your book?
Whoever read Abuse of Power, how democracy turned into tyranny of the few, that's we have an eye opener. Understand me? Because this thing that is happening now in the country, my book has an answer to it. Because today, my book talk about how opposition can take over from those in power. I devoted a whole part for how opposition can take over the government in power. That's even one of the main things that I wrote that book. But now what we have is opponents of government, not opposition. There's a very big difference between opposition and opponent. What we have now is those opposing government. Understand? If P2B is an opponent, Atiku is an opponent, Erofai is an opponent, they are not working together. If something happens that P2B does not like, he will issue a comment. If something happens that Atiku does not like, he will issue a comment. The same thing with Erofai, Rurutemi and Mechi, and so on and so forth. I talked about that is how opposition can take over government in power. The questions that Nigerian masses should ask themselves before going to vote. Understand? Which is number one, have the government in power delivered on their campaign promises? Which is the vital question. Has the government in power delivered on their campaign promises? Number two, is my life better now than before? So all these things are covered in my book. Understand? And those who have bought it would agree with me that what I'm saying is true. Because I'm not happy with what is happening in the country. We need a serious change. But for that change to come, those parties in opposition must come together. The parties in opposition must come together. They must unite. Now, Nigerian people don't know what to do. But if the parties in opposition, if a strong opposition is formed, it will give Nigerians the energy. Understand me? It will give Nigerians the energy. Understand that there's a possibility for the change. But there cannot be change when there's no unity, when there's no coalition. Because it is the parties in the opposition that weakens the government. Understand me? When the government in power is weak, know that the opposition is strong. But when the government in power is weak, know that the opposition is strong. And I still believe that 2027 presidential elections will not be determined by Tinubu. Even if all the 36 governors are with him, it will be determined by those in the opposition. If those in the opposition can come together and give the people the right message, Tinubu will go.
But that's the problem now, because even for the 2023 elections, we know that there were some young presidential aspirants, very young, and they came together. There were about, was it 5 of them, and said, okay, among us, let's choose one person and front this person. And then they had an internal election. I think it was conducted or overseen by Obi Ezekwesili. And one person emerged from among this group. And after that emergence, every other person started saying, no, it should have been me, should have been me. And that was the end. We lost that coalition. So how can this happen? How can we make sure that happens?
All these things are covered in the book, Abuse of Power, How Democracy Turned into Tyranny That's of the Few. For opposition to things that weakens the opposition is just one, who is to run as the presidential candidate. Because every politician is an incurable optimist. Even those who cannot win their local government will be telling you that they will win on the presidency. Understand? So one, bringing an acceptable and a popular candidate is always the issue. Understand? And if they can overcome it, it will help them. Understand? That's bringing a popular and acceptable candidate. Understand? So for me, I wrote that book because it will help to bring about the change that we are having now in Nigeria.
Okay, I hope that the ideas will get off the the pages of the book and get into action, because that's where the change really comes. It's not on the pages of the book. I hope that when people read it, it will give them a mindset that will enable them do the bravest thing that they need to do to make things happen.
Because if we continue in this way, Nigeria, Somalia will be better than Nigeria within the next 10 years, because there's no positive way forward.
Okay, we'd like to thank you, Dr. Adam CK, for coming on the show this morning. As usual, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. The show will take a break at this moment, and after the commercial break, we will be joining our Igbo brother and sister for the Igbo Amaka. After that, we hope to return at 10:30 with the front page review, and maybe by that time there will be new headlines on the front pages. We're hoping that you're going to continue to be a part of it. As we wait for that time to come, we're hoping you'll be sending in your messages so that once we come back, we begin with those messages. I still remain Yamgul Agaji. Thank you for your time for now. Remember, 10:30, we'll be back.
Original